And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Ryan Metzler.
Hey everybody, it's Ryan Metzler here, and we're going to be looking at a hidden movement game today, much along the lines of Scotland Yard, or maybe Letters from Whitechapel, or Fury of Dracula. And this one is Ninja. It's a AEG game based in the L5R universe about ninjas trying to infiltrate a palace of samurais and find a goal or accomplish a goal and escape. It's for 2 to 4 players. Half of the players will be ninjas or traders, the other half will be guards. And it plays supposedly in about 45 minutes. I think it might take a little bit longer than that. And is for ages probably about 12 and up. So with that said, why don't we take a look at what's inside this box, how the game plays, and what my thoughts are on it. So here you see the board for Ninja, and I've actually already got it set up here so that you can see several things. The first thing you saw there all the way zoomed in is a guard. That is one of the tan player guards. I'm going to move him onto his starting position. But around the board, you can see that these guards are placed on these little red dots. They may be hard to see, but they're scattered around the board. And these are the areas that the guard players, there may be 1 or 2, can choose to place their starting guards. And these guards are going to be what are trying to find the ninjas. And they're going to be doing this through using different cards. So you can see they have Kenjutsu cards. These are going to allow them to attack the ninjas. Or they have sentry searches, which will allow them to move any of these single guard units 1 to 2 spaces looking for the ninja hiders. We have awaken cards, which will allow the guards to bring more guards onto the board. So there are sleeping guards that you get to set at the beginning of the game, and those will be allowed to come out if you play this card. You have listen cards, which are going to allow you to try and find where the ninja has been moving. The faster the ninja moves, the easier they are to hear. And you're going to have the same thing for sentries and also things like patrol searches, which allow you to move these groups of 2 guards in ways that they normally wouldn't be able to move. So, at the beginning of the game, the players are going to have maps, which they're going to fill out in order to determine where certain things are hidden. And the ninja and trader players are going to be using this map to set their starting positions. So the ninja has to start all the way around the outside of the map, somewhere in there, and the trader gets to start inside the moat somewhere. They're also going to mark, as you can see here, there's an S here on the map and an S here. And this is going to be the locations of entrances to a secret passageway, which allow the ninja and the trader to pass through with 1 movement. So basically you can go from here to here in 1 movement, allowing them to move around a little bit quicker and to not be heard. Also on this map, or actually on their own map, the guards are going to be marking several things. So within these castles are objectives, and that's what the ninja and the trader are going to be after. And they're going to be lettered A through F. So here we can see we have objective D, there's objective C. The letters are the important part, but they do have flavor on them. For example, objective C is to poison the well. Objective E is to destroy the supplies. And that flavor is nice, but it really doesn't contribute anything to the game. So the guards will mark the locations of these objectives within these castles, as well as the locations of traps, hidden guards, and several other things, as well, the sleeping guards and the barracks. And that's how the setup of the game works. So the guards have their hidden information, and the ninjas and the traders have theirs. And so, throughout the game, you're going to follow a set pattern of turn order. And that turn order is going to be first alert phase, in which the guards are going to potentially draw some cards. And there's a chart over here that says, if the alert is low, the guards draw no cards. If the alert is high, they draw 3 and everything in between. And at the beginning of the turn, if the alert is high, or if the alert is somewhere in between high and low, the guards are going to get to draw these cards from their guard deck, which is what I showed you earlier. And each guard will have their own deck. It's be 1 big deck if there's 1 guard, or 2 decks if there's 2. And between the 2 guards, say there's 2, they get to choose to draw however many cards are on this between them. So if it's 1 card, 1 guard could draw the 1 card, the other guard would draw nothing. If it's 2, they could each draw 1, or 1 could draw both. You get the idea. At that point, they get to play any or all of those cards that they wish. So let's say they drew, the alerts at high, and they drew these 3 cards. 2 Kenjutsus, which are no good unless they happen to be in the room with the ninja, which they're not currently. So they're going to set those aside, and a sentry search. And this sentry search allows them to pick 1 sentry on the board that hasn't been activated yet, and to move him 2 spaces to look for the ninjas. So let's say we choose this sentry and he moves 2 spaces. If he were to move through a space where either the ninja or traitor were hiding, he would show up, the ninja would show up, let's say the ninja's standing right there, and then the guard player could play his Kenjutsu, dealing 1 damage to the ninja. The ninja only has 3 hit points, so if he takes 3 hits, he's going to die. Now that's okay before turn 10, he'll come back, it was a decoy ninja, but if it's after turn 10, then the ninja's out of luck, and the best that you can hope for is to get the traitor out and get a tie in the game. After the alert phase, we go to the guard's card phase. And the guard player, or players, can always play 2 cards from their hand. So let's say they decide to play these 2 cards, a Sentry Search and a Sentry Listen. The Sentry Search I showed you before would allow them to move a non-activated guard 2 spaces. The Sentry Listen functions in a different manner. Sentry Listen cards are going to allow the guard to pick 1 guard on the board. So let's say they choose this guy, and he's going to listen. And his listening ability is based on how far the ninja or traitors have moved on their previous turn. If the ninja has moved 1 space on his turn, the guard may hear from 1 space away. The same is true for the traitor. So he could hear all of these spaces around him. If he had moved 2 spaces on the previous turn, he would hear 2 spaces away, and 3 spaces away. And the concept there is that the ninja, the further he moves, the more noise he makes. If he hears him, he then gets to move 2 spaces, and the alert level would go up by 1. Anytime that the intruder is seen, the alert level immediately goes to high. After the guards get to take their turn, the patrols are going to move automatically, and the patrols are groups of 2 guards that are around this red footprint track on the board. You'll see there's a group here, and a group here. And every turn they're going to move 2 in the direction that they face. And if they happen to move over the ninja or the intruder or the traitor player, then they have to be revealed, and there will be the ability to do damage using Kenjutsu cards. Finally, each turn ends with an intruder phase. And the intruder phase is when the traitor and the ninja get to take their action. So these pieces are usually not on the board. They only show up when the guards happen to cross paths with the intruder or the traitor. And they're going to be marking their movement on those maps that I showed you earlier. So they'll mark the outside of the map with a 0 for the first turn, and then each subsequent turn they're going to write down what turn it is and how far they've moved. So for example, if the player were to start here and they moved 1 space on turn 1, they would write a 1 in the moat. If on turn 2 they moved 2 spaces, they would end up here, and they would put a 2 on that space and underline it once to show that they've moved 2 spaces. If they moved 3 spaces, they'd end up here and write a 2, underlining it twice to show that they've moved 3 spaces. So the amount of underlines shows you how many spaces they have moved. There's a maximum of 3 space movement, and then the ninjas will be able to play any cards that they want on their turn. So the ninja starts with a deck of cards, and actually at the beginning of the game they're forced to choose 8 of these cards and put them into their hand, and the other 4 won't be used in the game. And these cards do several things. There's one that allows them to enter that secret passage that I told you about earlier. Some of them are ropes, which will allow them to move over a wall. Or there are Kenjutsus, which will allow them to kill guards, but raise the alert level. Raising the alert level is bad because those guards get more cards and more actions. There's the Shadow Walk, which will allow them to move through a guard. And Shurikens, which will allow them to kill a guard from a space away, move 1 space, and not raise the alert level. The traitor has their own deck of cards, which have mostly the same things, but some different ones. So there's one called It Was a Cat, which anytime a guard hears one of the intruders, you can play this card, and it was just a cat. So they aren't alerted, and the alert level doesn't go up. They get no more cards on their turn. They also have Potent Sake, which allows them to enter a room with 1 guard and make him drunk for the rest of the game. He will still see intruders, but he may not attack, and he will not raise the alert level anytime they're in the room. Drunken guards look like this. They're just little yellow pieces with sake bottles that they're drinking, and they are placed on the board anytime that a guard becomes drunk. So let's say this guard becomes drunk. Now this guard is sitting here for the rest of the game. He's able to see people, so if the traitor were to walk into the room, he'd be there, but he wouldn't raise any alerts. So the whole goal is for the ninja to go from the outside all the way inside and search these rooms. And he'll be able to search any room that he moves through within these castles, up to 2 per turn. If he finds his objective, he must announce it to the guard player. He'd say, I found my objective, and it was objective E. And he would then be doing his best to hightail it out of the castle and escape the board. Same thing for the traitor. He needs to get in, search the rooms, and get back off the board before he dies. If they both manage to do so, they will win the game. However, if either one of these players dies before turn 10, they will be restarted at a new starting location with a new objective, and the guards will get several bonuses. If either one of them is killed twice, the best that you can hope for is a draw. That would only be if the other player manages to escape with their objective. If the guards manage to kill both players before the end of the game, or the game gets to turn 20 before both players have found their objectives, the guards are the winners. So that's Ninja. Now, I've played several different hidden movement games. I've played Scotland Yard, which I liked a decent amount. It's short, nice, to the point. I've played Letters from Whitechapel, which I despised because it was 3 hours long. And this one falls kind of right in the middle there. The additional bonus that it has is that it's got some nice combat elements. So Scotland Yard, you're pretty much just trying to escape. Letters from Whitechapel, mostly just trying to stay away from the police. In this one, you have the option of just running into a room, slicing through 4 guards or 3 guards, making one drunk and finding your objective and getting out. You can escape with the alert level being at high. You probably won't. Now, another nice fact is that if you die before turn 10 and you have found an objective, you may lose your objective card. But the new objective card you get can either be the same one, or it can be something else that you've already located. So then all you have to do is run in, touch it, and leave. The game is interesting. It might be a little longer than I'd like it to be, but all in all, not a bad game. If you're a fan of hidden movement games, I think you're really going to enjoy this one. The combat aspect does add a nice little touch to the game. So Ninja, hidden movement game. If you like hidden movement, go get it. If you don't like hidden movement, I still suggest that you check it out. It may be something that you're interested in.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.